I'm just bouncing this ball here, and that song, what goes up must come down, goes in my head. It's just, what goes up must come down. I don't know the song. I never know any of the songs, but I always hear little tunes. And I think about the Bible that, I don't want the blessing of God to come on my life and begin to raise me up and begin to exalt me, and then all of a sudden I come down. I don't want that. I want to be able to defy the gravity of sin, or defy the gravity of the world or life when I'm being blessed. I want to be able to continue on and continue to grow in that blessing. So as this ball is forced to come down by gravity, I want to be able to break that gravity and be able to defy it or suspend it in my life to where I don't come down. I don't fall. I don't get discouraged. I don't get disappointed. I don't get frustrated. I don't sin. I don't have to sin. I don't have to live in lack. I don't have to live in any of those things, because in the Bible, in 2 Peter, it actually says that there's a way to keep from falling. It says this. It says if you add to your faith, you start off with faith. Faith is the foundation. So everything I must do it in faith. Another place in the Bible, in the Romans, says if I don't do it according to faith, then it is actually sin. So I must do it in faith. That's first and foremost. But then as I add to my faith, I must add goodness. Goodness, I mean integrity, just being just a naturally good person. These are first stages of not falling backwards. It's first, I'm always going to stay positive. I'm always going to keep faith. The second thing is I'm going to add goodness, just real integrity. As a businessman, as a pastor, as a father, as a husband, I need to have integrity and goodness in my life. Then on that, I need to add some knowledge to it. What are those things doing? Those are the foundation. That's just the very foundation of the blessing of God in my life. And if I can keep those things, the faith, that goodness, and if I can have the knowledge of how to be a better father and how to be a better husband and how to have more integrity and how to live in more goodness and how to have more faith, then those things are the foundations. That's the stability where I don't actually have to fall down. It's like this pillar behind me. These pillars are holding up this roof. Well, thank God that this roof is not just suspended all by itself, and at any given time it can fall. But if these pillars give out, this roof will come down. Well, the faith, if my faith gives out, the blessing can come down. If goodness and then my integrity gives out, then the blessing can come down. If I don't have the knowledge of how to contain and continue in the things that God has blessed me with, if I don't have the knowledge of how to do that, then the next thing you know, my blessing will come down. So these are foundational things. We have to keep the foundation. If we keep a solid, strong foundation, keep these as pillars in our lives, then the blessing and the fruitfulness and the favor of God won't fall on our lives, and we won't fall, but we'll continue to grow and be strong. What goes up doesn't always have to come down. Here we go. Now watch. He says, now, so the blessing of the Lord is the ability to become what we were originally supposed to be. All right. Now watch. It says, and then God blessed them, and God said to them, and we'll say, be fruitful and multiply, fill the earth, subdue it, have dominion. Remember that in that order, will you, please? Remember that. Let's say it again. I want you to remember this order, because this order is I realize this wasn't just something that God was doing, but it's an order, it's a process, it's the becoming. This is the becoming. The becoming is that I first have the stage of being fruitful. Then the next stage of my becoming is I'm now multiplying. Are you hearing me? Everyone say stage of becoming. Then the next thing is I fill. And then the next thing is I subdue. And then I have dominion. So the first three stages are all about me taking control of me. But when I get to stage 4 and stage 5, it's actually about me taking control of what's my environment or anything that would try to control who I am, because I've already taken control of me. Everyone say becoming. So now I'm becoming something, and so when I'm becoming something, I have to have a fruitful thought about who I'm going to be, and I have to work in my mind intentionally to become fruitful in that area, and then I'm going to multiply that, and we'll say multiplication. I'm going to extend beyond myself. Right? I'm going to multiply, and then I'm going to not only multiply, I'm going to begin to consume, to fill. But after I fill, there's going to be a point of then the next step of becoming, I need to subdue anything that would hinder my next level of becoming. And then I need to have dominion on anything that I've subdued, so that I don't go backwards and become less than what I have been. Because remember, you can become north or south, left or right. You can become better or worse. You can become a captive or a liberated person. There's constantly becoming. And so what the devil wants is he wants to control your becoming. He knows you're going to change every single day. Come on, somebody. He knows you're going to change every single moment. He knows that you're never going to stay the same. And if he doesn't control your becoming, then you will become something that he can't handle. All right, let's go here to Exodus chapter 1. I'm loving this. Are you ready? Let's look at this. I'll say becoming. Now that means that every day you have to control your becoming. You have to control your fruitfulness. You have to control your multiplication. You have to control your filling. You have to control your subduing. You have to control your dominion, the place that you have authority in. Don't lose ground ever, because when you lose ground, you have become something less than what you were. When you give something up, you become less than what God has ever planned for you. Come on, somebody, say amen. So let's look at Exodus chapter 1. We're going to look at verse 7. And it says, but the children of Israel, I'm going to say children of Israel, this is when, they were coming out and they were going into Egypt, and they had begun to, they were with their brother. And it says here, and then in verse 7, it says, but the children of Israel were fruitful and increased abundantly. I want to say fruitful. So what is the first part of the stage of the being blessed and becoming? Be fruitful, right? And then they increased. I'm going to say increased. And they increased not small, but abundantly, right? Then the next thing is they multiplied. What's the next part of the stage of becoming? See, God's whole intention for the children of Israel is that they wouldn't stay a family, but they would become a nation. And after becoming a nation, that they would become an army. Come on, somebody, are you hearing me? And as an army, they would be able to walk out of Egypt. Oh, I love this. They would walk out of Egypt being able to conquer any territory. They would be able to subdue and have dominion in any territory. But you have to go through these stages. They have to, all of us, none of us skip this stage of being fruitful, increasing, multiplying. And then the next thing it says what? And they exceedingly grew mighty. They filled, and the land was filled with them. So the next thing you want to do is you want to add to all the things that you added so far. You want to add self-control. You want to add the ability to stay controlled. That's like taking another step. Take another step towards being blessed. Take another step towards your destiny is being self-controlled. Now, that self-control enables me to live a life without wondering, yeah, man, am I going to lose it? Am I going to all of a sudden, I'm going to be tempted by something, or I'm going to give in to something? But I'm going to stay in control of my life. I'm not going to allow any circumstances of life to come and control me. I'm not going to allow the enemy to control me. You know what? God himself is not even trying to control me. God is trying to lead me. God is not a controller. He's a leader. And so he wants to lead me into my destiny. And the self-control that I maintain actually helps me follow God in reaching the blessing that he has for me. So self-control is another step. Another step towards the blessing of God is the fact that I'm going to hold on. I'm going to hold on to the truth. I'm going to hold on to the things that God says are dear to me. I'm going to hold on to my family. I'm going to hold on. I'm not going to quit. I'm not going to be a quitter. I'm not going to let go. So I've had faith. I've had goodness. I've had knowledge. I have self-control. Now I'm going to quit? No, there's no way. I've gone too